What's up, nerds? Welcome back to the channel. We're here to talk about the biggest scam in fishing, BFS. Big freaking scam.
Big freaking scam.
We're talking about BFS fishing. This is otherwise known as ultralight casting. So what if you had a bait caster that could cast a 1/32 ounce jig? Wouldn't that be neat?
Tall task.
It is a tall task, and it can be done with some neat products that exist on the market. So what we want to do in this video is we're giving you a rod and reel rundown of all the BFS products that we've been using for the past year plus, and stuff that we've learned from our friends over at Bait Finesse Empire. So if you guys want to pick up any of this Bait Finesse stuff, especially the more select overseas items, you can find it at Bait Finesse Empire.
They do an awesome job, and from the owner down to the folks who are helping to grow the sport, that's what they really care about, is getting you exposed to things that you've not seen before that is super high quality and will help you catch fish. Like, that's all they care about.
This is not a video for ultralight spinning. There will be none featured in this video.
Not even ours.
Not even
which
ours.
You can find on monsterbass.com for $89.99 pre-order, ships December 1st.
But that's not for this video. So we're gonna do BFS. This is otherwise known as Bait Finesse System. It's where we have those finesse casters. So right now, what I'm looking off to my right at is 5 different combos, which means we have 5 rods, 5 reels. Actually, we have 6 reels because there's one behind me. So we're gonna run through those rods and reels. We'll give you all the price points as well. You can decide for yourself if you're to get into this or if you're to step up your combo or whatever, what would work best for you. We're simply gonna give you our experience on it and our initial thoughts over the past year or so.
We'll help all the prices and we'll let you know where you can find it.
So we're gonna start with the cheapest options, and we're gonna work our way up from there. Starting with the cheapest reel. I think we go reel rod, reel rod.
I would just go reels all the way through.
Reels all the way through. So starting with the cheapest reel, we have the Cast King Zephyr, and it's only cheapest by a couple bucks. If you get it on sale, then cool.
Like right now, you can get on Amazon for $60, but they're typically 75 bucks wherever you go to look for them. Now, the nice thing is, because they're made by Cast King, you can pretty much find them anywhere. So you can get them off their website. You can find them on popular websites like Tackle Warehouse and things like that, or Amazon. So that is a benefit.
What do we feel about the Cast King Zephyr? It is an okay value, pretty much. It's a cheaper BFS reel, and that's about where the positives end.
I tend to disagree. I think it's a lot nicer than that. I think for 75 bucks, it is pretty solid. It feels a little heavy duty. It also feels a little clunky. It's probably bigger than it needs to be. I will say, if you pay another 20 bucks, 10 bucks, and upgrade the bearings with the Roro bearing kit, R-O-R-O, which you can also find on Bait Finesse Empire. I think this actually leapfrogs a lot of other models, and it can cast a lot lighter. But as it comes stock, I think it's good, not great. I think that's probably where we fall on it.
As it comes stock, it is a light casting reel. It is not an ultralight casting reel. So you will not be throwing 1/32 ounce jigs on here. Even if you upgrade the bearings, you can still have a tough time casting 1/32 ounce jigs. There are other reels in this lineup that are way better at that.
132 is kind of the line. That's like the lower end of the line for us when it comes to Bait Finesse system or Bait Finesse casting. So I think most of these, when we talk about 132, we're like, if it hits the 132, it's like, wow, that's really doing a great job.
That's ultralight.
I think anything in like the 1/8 range, I think you're still BFS fishing, and that's kind of where all these can play, and this plays there just fine.
1/8 ounce on this. Solid. This actually was on my frogging setup for BFS for a long time. Ultralight frogs.
I was gonna say ultralight frogs and crankbaits. I think it does a great job.
The next cheapest reel is 85 bucks. So for the price, it's only a little bit more than the Zephyr.
10 bucks.
And it's cheaper than the Zephyr if you do the upgraded Roro bearings. So out of the box though, you've fished this one the most. I've cast it a few times, and even just on looks and feel, I'm already on this over the Zephyr for sure. This is the Cernoia Dark Wolf. And there's a few other Cernoia products as far as reels go that you can get on Bait Finesse Empire as well.
The Cernoia Dark Wolf is basically like the OG. It's the original. It's the one that a lot of other manufacturers are copying, and that's really what it comes down to. Like the Alpha's on the Dark Wolf platform, but really this is the one I think started it all and still is kind of the gold standard.
Yep. So this is a great option, and you've cast some light stuff on here. What's like the lightest you've cast?
132, I think it handles pretty easily. Now, though,
out of the box?
Oh yeah, out of the box.
Wow.
The thing about, and with braids. So the thing I will say with the Dark Wolf Ultra is that where it's cheap is in the plastic. It's a cheap feeling plastic. It feels really light. It feels kind of tinkery. I don't love that. All the components feel that way, with the exception of the braking system. So this mag system is what you're really kind of getting. That you're paying for. So you can see the magnets are on 2 different plates. When the reel is spinning, it changes the amount of magnetic pressure that's applied to the spool as it's going. So it's more mags when it's going faster, and it's less magnets when it's going slower, which means you get the right amount of magnetic pressure applied across the entire spectrum of your cast. That just means you're gonna get the most efficient braking possible. Now this is the Zephyr. This is a static braking system, so it doesn't move with the spool. So it's just magnets, and they're in a fixed position around the spool. So that's more on what you see on a standard bait caster. Can it work? Absolutely. Does it work quite as well as the Dark Wolf? No, which means you're gonna be able to throw the lighter stuff a little bit better. And I don't know where your spool went. Did it roll off into oblivion? There it is.
Oh no, my spool.
Oh no.
So next up, we've got the Flight Feather. Now, this is a pretty awesome, really light reel. It's actually marketed as 4.4 ounces.
Which is tied for the lowest weight in the market.
Yeah.
Now, it is a little more expensive. So you're talking
jump.
about $180, and that is a huge jump from 85 bucks.
So we got ours from the guys over at NACO Outdoors. They are one of the distributors. There are many other distributors you could pick this up from. But it's just overall like a really cool design. I'm not huge on the colors. I would love to see it in different colors. They're saying they are making
They're
it in
gonna come out
different
with like
colors.
a black and silver.
Yeah, which would be the go-to for me for sure. This, you know, just Transformer looking Autobot doing kind of thing is fine.
But it was cool.
Overall, nice grips on this thing. I've cast this a ton. This is the reel that I go to for my lightest casting. So I've been casting 132 ounce on there, no problem. Yep, we're gonna pop off the side plate for you guys here.
There's your braking system and your main bearing. And actually, now see, this is how you can get some of the price down. So like the Dark Wolf also has like a plastic gear here. That's where you're actually gonna adjust your bearings. That's where you are shaving off a lot of the cost. Now where you also can shave off a lot of weight is by like having tiny plates and not having full coverage in certain areas. That's how you get down. And then obviously lighter materials, magnesium, things like that, and lighter plastic. So that's how you can get the weight down on some of these reels.
And this one is the magnesium alloy, so that's what they use for this. So it is very, very light.
Now right now, all the lightest reels, I think all, I say all, but a lot of the lightest reels are using that magnesium alloy. That's how you get the weight down, but you keep the rigidity up. So it's still metal, it's very rigid, which is great because it's not twisting when you catch a big fish and you're running that drag, but it is super light as well.
Overall, I had a banger of a day on this, all on a 132nd ounce jig the entire day. Highly recommended. Very nice reel, 170 bucks. You are taking a jump. It's still like mid-tier. Then we jump to a Shimano. So we've got the Curado BFS, or the Curado, if you want to piss off everyone on the internet. So the Shimano Curado is
Stays in the flick.
Stays in the flick for sure. This is heavy duty. You get your aluminum frame. It is heavier.
I think a lot of people think that
everything.
It is. It's bigger, and I think a lot of people think this is sort of like the peerless standard that you should pay up for when it comes to BFS, and I would disagree. I think that it's a nice reel. I think it works pretty well. I think when it comes to casting lighter lures, I don't think it does as good of a job.
It does not excel.
So I think this is more of a light casting as well. So like the 1/8 range, it does a good job, but I do think that it just doesn't do quite as good of a job as like say the Dark Wolf Ultra or that Feather Flight.
It's actually got the same braking system as the Dark Wolf.
Cool.
Nice light spool in there, which is pretty awesome.
Spool weight's critical because the lighter the spool, the less amount of tension it takes to pull and like actually turn the spool. So like the weight on your line is what you're actually throwing. That's what pulls the line. Lighter spool, less weight required. That's how you get another way, a major way that you get down to those lighter weights.
It is quite the price hike as well. Even from the Flight Feather, we're now up to 210 bucks. So I would say if you're just getting into BFS, this is not the real. Don't be like, oh, you got to get the Shimano Curado. Like you don't. You really don't. This is now living on my frogging setup for BFS because again, it's not as good at casting the lighter stuff. If I upgrade the bearings and do a whole bunch of other expensive things to this, I could make it a $300 reel that is now capable of doing the things that the Dark Wolf can do. So there's other options that you can do. It's okay. Not the biggest fan.
So we're saying whether or not we're a fan. Again, we're comparing this to, our goal is to get down to that comfortably casting that 132 ounce range. Now, if you're into the 1/8 ounce range, I think this next reel and the Shimano are fine for you.
They're great.
You're gonna be really happy because they just can't get quite, they can't cast comfortably those lighter weights as well. And that's why we're kind of not recommending them as much. So if you're a big trout guy, if you're really into the true like low end weight bait finesse, you're gonna struggle. Now again, if you're okay with going a little higher, if you're in the 1/8 range, you're great. You're 1/16. I think you're fine. It's just when you get anything below that is where you're going to struggle. So I think these reels work really good in those ranges. But again, our sort of baseline is like, can you comfortably and effectively throw the 132, which is really that ultralight.
When I first got into BFS, what I was grabbing was the micro chatterbaits from Z-Man at 1/16 of an ounce. And then I was throwing 1/16 ounce jigs, Texas rigs, frogs, all of those. You'd be great with the Curado and this next one. This was actually the next most expensive one. The King Castro was $219 when we bought it.
Correct.
It's now apparently $200, whatever. So you can get it on sale. It's an overall decent reel for sure. It's lighter than the Curado by a lot.
It's tied for the lightest, 4.4 ounces.
And Paul did a whole bunch of upgrades to this as well. So you can see that he's got the Gomexus handle and grips on there. You got the Roro bearings in this thing.
Yep.
So total investment, I think, in this one, you're looking at $260, you said?
Mm-hmm. $250 somewhere in there.
$250, $260 at that point. So it brings it up to the higher price bracket. Now, overall, what we've been talking about is, can you cast lighter stuff? Look, it has the same like decent upgraded BFS braking system.
It's a really nice braking system. Here's the problem. It's overbraked. That's my biggest problem, is that there's the magnets are too strong. I think if you swapped out the magnets for a less aggressive magnet, I think you'd be really happy with the way this casts. I am not able to cast down to 132 easily, even with a lighter rod to kind of support it and lighter line. It's just not doing that. So I think in the 1/8 range, it does a phenomenal job. It's a really nice reel. This is probably the nicest drag. Or tied for the nicest drag of any reel that I've used for BFS. And it's got, as far as feel, fit, and finish, it's super nice. I don't think again, if you don't want to go super low in weight, I don't think you're overpaying even at $200.
Yeah.
I think this is that nice. But even with the upgrades that I've done, I'm not able to get down to that super low weight. So I would say, other than the fact that it's overbraked, very nice reel.
So again, if you're not looking to cast the super ultra light stuff, you can get away with that, just like you could with the Curado. Our opinion, at $200, we'd probably go this over the Curado.
Yep.
So casting.
Oh yeah, I would.
King Castro over the Curado, that would be our opinion. There you go, if you're already in the $200 range. So stepping up just a little bit more, we got the Daa Salamand Dura. This one comes in around $240 on Bait Finesse Empire. It's kind of like scattered at different prices throughout the internet, but just go to Bait Finesse Empire. These things are fantastic. So I've gotten a chance to use this. This is your reel, so you use it
this
a ton.
one exclusively.
This is his exclusive BFS. If that tells you anything, with all the reels you've seen, this is his exclusive BFS reel. It really do be that good.
It really is. So,
it's solid.
Again, it's braked appropriately. It has an amazing spool, and I think just the feel in general is awesome. You do get the Air TW system, so this is that. Here, I'll show you. When you push this down, it opens up that line guide so much and allows the line to easily get through it. And then when you try and reel in, it trims it down to nothing. So I think it's a really unique system. Daiwa does an awesome job. The Tatula SV frame is phenomenal. Aluminum frame. You get the hyperdrive, you get the hyper gear, you get all that cool stuff in that package for $240.
Yep.
Is it expensive? Certainly. It's without a doubt. And I think really the only reason we bought that reel was to see, is $240? How does it compete against a $200 reel with upgrades? How does it compete against an $80 reel that throws those super light weights? Like, how does it compare? It's much nicer. Period, the end. It's worth the money if you're into spending up to get quality. I'd say yes. If you're into value and you just want to cast light stuff, I'd go with the $80, the Dark Wolf Ultra.
Yeah, we've said it in this video already. If you're looking to just crack into the whole BFS situation, the Dark Wolf's a great
Go plastic. You're going to be happy. You won't be mad.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're going to have a lot of fun. You're going to catch a lot of fish. And then once you know you love it, if you want to start investing more, then you can do that.
Go ham.
And also not featured on this list, the Shimano Aldebaran at 400 and whatever friggin' dollars.
I'm sure it's really nice.
There are other options out there, obviously, and there are also other options that are really expensive, some that are really cheap. A lot of guys talk about getting stuff just from overseas, and like you can get them pretty cheap. We haven't dabbled in that, and we don't plan on it really.
For your working man's understanding of bait finesse, I think this is a good spread, and that's our recommendations.
There's also a reel on this list that we own that we don't have, the Arc BFS, and which is
so excited to try.
It's the same reel as the Hybo, which you can get from overseas. They worked together to come up with it. So for all those people that are like, that's just a Hybo.
It is.
Yeah, it is. You're right. You are correct. And that's also not a bad thing because they're just bringing it to the US market. That's all it is. So
it's on its way.
Yeah, it's ARC labeled, essentially like white labeled for ARC, like it's the Hybo, whatever. So we will have that. I think it's the Rise Air, the Hybo Rise Air. So we will have that soon. Obviously, we won't be fishing it till next year. So once we get more of a use out of it. We'll do another video on that in the future, so you guys can see that then. Otherwise, that's all the reels. Let's get into the rods. So starting at the lowest level, we have our cheapest BFS, the first one that I got. This is the Shimano Sensilite. And it is a light, not an ultralight. So this is really designed, I think at the lowest for 116. So it's 116 to 1/4 ounce, and mostly we're throwing 1/8. It's a pretty stiff rod. It does have like a moderate action, which you're gonna see with like a lot of the ultralight stuff.
Almost all of them.
That's how most of them should be set up or are set up.
The reason there you're gonna see softer actions is one, to really get some velocity on those lighter lures so that the rod actually loads. So that, by load, I mean when you back cast, there's a bend in the rod, so the line is actually bending, and then it flicks forward, so that's where you get your velocity. The other reason is you are going to need your drag, and you're going to need your rod to do a lot of fish fighting work, because you're gonna have very light line. You're gonna have 4 or 6 pound, at the most 8 pound test, and so you have got to have some support. How do you get that support? Softer rod actions, and then quality drags.
So this rod might say it's an extra fast, but here's the tip, and as you can see, that's
fast.
not...
Maybe.
That's fast-ish.
Yeah,
I would not call this extra fast. That's just like how these are built. So anyways, that said, 50 bucks, $49.99. Sometimes you can get it on sale. I would say, again, if you're just looking to kind of dabble in BFS, if you want to mostly throw the mid-weight to heavier BFS lures, then you can definitely get away with the Sensilite.
Anything 1/8 and less you're gonna struggle with. You just are. You're just going to. It's a decent bottom contact, but again, if you're going anything lighter, I do not recommend this rod. What you're gonna find is it doesn't load at all. And it's not the design, it's not designed for that weight. When you go to cast one of these, you're gonna find yourself doing these, like the little, like the lob,
helping it
where you
out.
just kind of, you have to really like cast it a very specific way. And you're also gonna find that there's almost no forgiveness. So if you go for a flick and you shoot something out there, it's gonna swing way to the left. You won't get these straight casts. And it's just not fun to fish with. Again, at the lower weights, so the 1/16, 132 ounce weights, you're just not gonna have fun.
Yeah, so my first combo was actually the Cast King Zephyr with the Shimano Sensilite. So all in, you're at like 120, 130 bucks.
Great deal.
It's a pretty solid deal if you want to get into it. And at this point, because the Sensilite is a light action rod, it's now rocking the Curado, and that's my frogging.
It's like such a weird combo.
It is, but like
it works.
I'll get other rods in the future, whatever.
Yeah.
All right, so this next rod you picked up is actually really friggin' cool.
So this is the Majestic XT from, well, I got this one at Bait Finesse Empire, but it's a Shimano. So one of my favorite parts about this rod is actually the grip. I feel like the locking nut here at the top is like super smooth. It feels really good. And then this grip right here, even though it's just foam, is super comfortable. It gives me a lot of confidence. And I just love the split grip. The balance is nice. I'm loving this. Also, the hook holder is a really flexible hook holder, and it's above the reel seat, which for me as a kayak angler,
ideal.
I really like. So I'm loving this rod. Another thing I love about this rod is that it's a 2-piece rod. I love that it's a 2-piece rod. It makes it like you can travel with it. You can leave it in your truck. It's like not a big deal. And I'll tell you right now, like I've only taken it apart 2 times since I've gotten it, and it never moves. I've never even thought of it as like a 2-piece until I've wanted to take it apart. So don't be afraid of 2-piece rods. A lot of these BFS rods are 2-pieces. Don't be afraid. I promise you, you'll be happy. This thing is slick. It's $100. I think this competes with almost any rod out there. I grabbed the 6.5 light, and this is the 2-piece. So this one, 2 to 7 grams is the rating. The 132 rating you're not gonna have a problem with, I promise you. I really like this setup. So this I think is solid value. It also looks heckin' good. The black and red is it's nice.
Next one's brand new. We saw it at ICAST, and honestly, first thoughts we were like, it's okay. And then we got it, and you've been fishing with it. What do you think about it?
I think that I said what I said. The grip, if you like this grip, good for you. I think that's awesome. I do not hold reels
I like the grip.
this way. I don't hold them like this. I hold them like this, which means I'm not even touching the grip. It feels nice, it looks good, that's great. I've never fished like this in my whole life.
Fair.
And this portion is what I'm holding, and it's the cheapest part of the whole grip. So personally, I've never liked that. This is always a bugaboo for me when this is not the most comfortable part of the reel seat. That being said, it's very secure, it works great, it looks heckin' good, and it's new from St. Croix, and everyone's happy about having the nicest rod on earth, so that's dope.
Yep.
I love this hook holder. It's super heavy duty. Where this really shines is price point. 175 bucks for St. Croix, I think is an absolute steal. I got, this is the Mojo Bass, which is their very popular bass hunting model lineup. And again, very affordable. I've had Mojo Bass in the past. I've always liked them. They're really quality.
They're great.
This is no exception. This one is BFS. So this is their, oh, can you see that? There it is. This is their BFS mid setup. So this one is for treble baits. It's buttery soft. This thing is going to sling those lighter weights.
Yeah.
And when you hook a fish, it's got a really, really moderate action that's going to help you fight those treble hook baits, and they're not going to give that fish leverage to break off. I have loved this rod. Super nice. Even with the grip that I'm not like a huge fan of, it's super comfortable, and it is buttery soft.
Cool. Trade?
Literally never.
So next one has been my go-to BFS rod, which, you know, I have two. So this is, this is my go-to. This is the one that I use the most. It's been great for casting light stuff. The interesting thing about that is it's actually not ultralight.
Yeah. Even though it says
it's ultra finesse.
Yeah, it is.
But it's not an ultralight, it's a light, actually. Yep. This is the Dobbins Sierra Ultra Finesse. So you guys can see all the info on the back there. Now, it's rated down to a 116. This rod, I was casting a 132. So it was rated above the weight that I was casting, and it was doing okay with it. I will be picking up some more BFS stuff for next year. We're done for the year in Michigan, unfortunately.
And that rod was almost done for because it just hit the ceiling.
It's fine. It'll be all right. It's ultra finesse. It's okay.
I will say too that just like the well, the combo that Jeff got, I think is what all people thought of as the high-end standard for BFS at the time. So putting the Curado on there with the Dobbins Sierra Ultra Finesse.
That's what I started with.
Yep, it's a super nice combo. But again, going for real, true, I think bait finesse. I think you're really struggling at anything below 1/16.
And people have asked me about this. This is the 6'9". It's the 691C. Because it's the fast. There's a 6'9 fast and a 6'9 extra fast. This is the fast, so it's a little more moderate fast action with this, which has been great. And like I've been using this for just about everything. I definitely need more of an ultralight casting rod, which will get paired up with a different reel probably next year. So we'll be playing around with some different models in the future. At 180 bucks, I think that it is a high quality, high value rod. Dobbins for me has always been a favorite. I love those rods. They're fantastic. So you really can't go wrong. You know, seeing stuff like the Majestic at $100 price point makes it really hard to like step up much higher than that. Yeah. Because that's a huge value.
Cernoy makes some rods that are $115 range too that I think compete, especially at the lower weights. Can't speak to them because I've never had one, but
we will have some.
It's tough.
Yep, they're coming up. So down to the last one. This one is your first BFS rod that you picked up.
Yep, and this is the Cashion Icon. Got that awesome, I love this. I was really nervous about this grip. I thought a bunch of stuff would get in it. I thought it wouldn't be as grippy as I wanted. The texture on this is amazing, and I've not had any problems whatsoever. So this is a 7-foot fast light. So this one has 1/16 as the top end weight. These are made in the USA. They have beautiful blanks. I know this is not going to show up, but these are gorgeous blanks. Very high quality. Again, something with the grip. I've never liked the locking nut to be the cheapest feeling part because I hold my reels like this. So all the grip is happening here, not so much here. Now, all that being said, the rod is extremely sensitive. It certainly can't handle those lower weight ranges. I prefer this just because of the fast action. I like this for jigs and bottom contact and frogging. So a little bit more on the heavier side than like the Majestic, which is a little softer, and definitely nowhere near as soft as the Mojo Bass. And the softest is not always good, it's just they're made for different things. Yep. Oh, so that one almost did die. Holding rods indoors is horrible.
Right, it is.
But the one thing about being made in the USA, it's a little more expensive. So you're paying 220 bucks. I do think it's very, very comparable to any rod that's here, with the exception of like just the way that it's designed. It is a one piece, so if that's a bugaboo for you, totally get that. If not, awesome. It is gorgeous, made in the USA, great rod. If you're trying to cast ultralight though, I'd still go with the Majestic. I think it does a better job.
One last quick call out. There is a ton of different line out there. We'd highly recommend that you guys talk to smart folks like the guys at Bait Finesse Empire and
just
learn about
them.
it.
Yeah.
Varivas has been one of our go-to. And then of course you got stuff like Daiwa. J-Braid is a great option as well.
8 or 4 strand, either one.
You're gonna see 8 or 4 strands. You're going for that ultralight stuff and like a true ultralight BFS setup, you're gonna want the 4 strand. You're gonna go with like some lighter pound test. Your leader, if you're gonna use a fluorocarbon leader, which we recommend, is gonna be like a 2 to a 4 pound test on that ultralight stuff. So just kind of look into different lines, make your own decision with that, or talk to smart folks like we have over the past years. And we'll probably do some more videos online in the future as well.
But these are, so far, two of my favorites that are readily available. Again, Bait Finesse Umpire, if you want the Varivas, that's the quality. If you just need something good, very good, Daiwa, J-Braid, always good.
All right, so let's do this. We're gonna build, how many combos? Three combos?
We're gonna build a cheap combo, we're gonna build a value combo, and then we're gonna build our most expensive high-end swanky combo, and we'll out of what we got here.
All right, so for the cheapest setup, we already mentioned it in this video, but it's this one right here. You got your Cast King Zephyr paired up with your Shimano Sensilite. The rod's 50 bucks. The reel sometimes is $60 to $70. Like, you can almost get to the $100 mark. So this is super cheap. If you want to get started on this, you will not be happy with light lures. That's all we have to point out. You
Super
have
light.
to know that. No, just light in general. Like below 116,
Yeah.
you're gonna be upset.
Yep.
At 116, it can be challenging. Like this is braked pretty heavily, the reel is, so, and with a stiffer rod, like see if you can get a lighter setup. This is the Sensilite. This is what it is. Like this is the
light
option you got. It's a light action.
Yep.
So with that said, that's your cheapest setup that you could go out of all the products we talked about today. And you're at the 110-ish price point.
Solid.
Not bad for your first BFS combo. Let's go value. Highest value in this bunch, I think, is a no-brainer with this combo. I'm probably gonna go pick this combo up just because I want to have it, actually. But this is the Cernoia Dark Wolf.
The Dark Wolf Ultra with the Majestic XT from Shimano on it. So
Juicy combo.
$100 for the rod, two-piece, which again is kind of dope. Handles the lower weights, and then for the Cernoia, you're talking 85 bucks. So right there, you're under $200 for the whole combo. You're talking about a lot of quality. Certainly, there's some gaps here, a lot of plastic parts and things like that, but the value is through the roof.
It's
and
huge.
your ability to cast really light stuff, it's built in. So I do think by far best value.
For the S tier ranking of your bougiest setup out of all of this, it's actually not the most expensive rod that we're going with. That said, out of our combos, it would be this right here.
The Daa Salamand Dura Air paired up with that new Trigon grip with the Mojo Bass from St. Croix. I think the St. Croix, they have a stiffer model, so if you're into like, you don't want the mid setup, the treble setup, certainly just go with that model. But I think the St. Croix lineup speaks for itself. Phenomenal rod, super comfortable, buttery soft, good setup, and you can't beat the Salamand Dura Air. I mean, you go with an Aldebaran, but like realistically with what we've got here, it can't be beat. This is the nicest reel. But not inexpensive. You're at 420 bucks for this combo. Oof. So you go from, what did we say? 185 with the Dark Wolf Ultra / Majestic XT all the way to 420. You're getting burned. I mean, that hurts. But if you got the pocketbook that's full of cash and you just like to have quality gear,
you'll be happy.
This is a great route. You're gonna be super happy.
Yep. All right, you guys, that's all we got for our BFS lineup recommendations, our experience we shared with you guys on all those. Hopefully that was helpful. I know BFS is, slowly growing within the US market, so I'm sure we'll see tons and tons more stuff. The ARC BFS reel hasn't even dropped publicly yet.
Yeah.
So like that's supposed to be end of November. So I don't know about you guys, but we're not touching that till March. We just won't be able to, unless I go ice fishing with it, which I won't. Unless you want to see a TikTok.
Unless you want to see it.
Let us know. But that's all we got. Hopefully this video was helpful for you guys. Be sure to like and subscribe if it was. That helps us out a lot here. And we'll catch you guys on the next video with more product reviews and fishing, probably. Maybe ice, maybe frozen fishing. I got to do some other stuff. Still got some homework to do.